Hello, I am Dr. Shourdeep Dotto, MBBS and MS in Gynecology and Obstetrics. I am Senior Resident of NRS MCH. Today, I will discuss long term consequences of bad fetal life. We all know man the maker of his own destiny, and we all believe that, but it is possible that some healthy problems have been already destined due to bad fetal life, and those can affect one's future health to some extent. We will discuss bad fetal life and its consequences in following heading: IUGR, stressed appropriate for gestational age, and low birth weight, including small for gestational age and large for gestational age. So first, IUGR. So what is IUGR? IUGR is intrauterine growth retardation. Occurs when the unborn baby is at or below 10th weight percentile for his age in weeks and abdominal circumference is less than 2.5 percentile and affected by a pathologic restriction in its ability to grow. IUGR has some short term complications like necrotizing enterocolitis, hypoxic brain injury, retinopathy of prematurity, because it is often associated with prematurity and also with mortality. David Barker, a reproductive epidemiologist, he has given a Barker hypothesis that describes that in case of IUGR, there is permanent changes in endocrine and cardiovascular system, both structurally and functionally. So, risk factor for coronary arterial disease increases. Those are insulin resistance, hypertension, type 2 diabetes mellitus, hyperlipidemia, and this all leads to coronary arterial disease. And this hypothesis has been supported by Helsinki birth cohort and also supported by thrifty phenotype hypothesis. And we will know what is Helsinki birth cohort. So, Helsinki's birth cohort is who develop coronary arterial disease in later life, had grown slowly in fetal and infant life. That is the conclusion of Helsinki birth cohort, and it is also supported by thrifty phenotype hypothesis. Next, we will discuss appropriate for gestational age but stressed. So, stressed AGA. We all know that not only endogenous factor but also exogenous factor, that is like environmental factor and some stresses like sound, like mental stresses, these all hamper the fetal development and the effects we can see in later life. From environment, we know the insecticides, the clothes and plastic colors, and perfluoroalkyl substances, those present in packaged food, these all things affect a fetal development, and In later life, the fetus, that baby can develop thyroid disorder and coronary arterial disease. In animal study, we have seen that stress like sound, light, these things causes hippocampal functional defect, and it also causes defect in synaptogenesis in fetus. So this thing can affect cognitive development in later life. Next, we will discuss the diet of mother. Pre-birth cohort project in USA and Generation R project in Netherlands. They have described that sweetened beverage and artificial sweetener, these things, exposure of these things in pregnancy can lead to early age of obesity. Early age of obesity, or you can say obesity in early age. So increased the BMI get increased and the fat mass index get increased in 6 to 7 years. So the obesity, that is a risk factor of coronary arterial disease, can be seen in early childhood. And Maslova et al., they have also supported that more than one soft drink per day in pregnant stage can lead to development of asthma in early childhood. And some cohort studies have described that increased vegetables and multigrain foods, nuts, legumes, in you increase intake of these things in pregnancy, uh, they are protective. They are protective from having early onset of obesity in childhood. Now we will discuss the long term consequences of low birth weight. And what is low birth weight? It is birth weight less than 2.5 kg. So very low birth weight is less than 1.5 kg and extremely low birth weight is less than 1 kg. Some studies have described that this very low birth weight and extremely low birth weight, this baby can develop cognitive defect, cognitive development defect in later life. And and some also psychiatric problems have been described in these babies in later life. That is, in female it is very common, that is anxiety and depression, and in men that is ADHD, that is attention deficit hyperactive disorder. And in preterm they are also prone to develop some psychiatric problem in later life. A large Swedish cohort have described that prematurely born were more likely to suffer from psychiatric disorder and exhibit suicidal disorder. Disorder. In prematurity, there are some long term consequences like one, sensory deficit, two, cerebral palsy, three, incomplete catch up growth, four, schooling difficulty, five, chronic lung disease, six, behavioral problems. Now we will discuss consequences of large for gestational age. And what is large for gestational age? It is more than 90% weight percentile of same gestational age. When the birth weight is more than 90th weight percentile of same gestational age. Look at that child, that baby, and his birth weight is 5.07 kgs. And large for gestational age, there are some chances of long term consequences like coronary arterial disease and cancer. Yes, it is cancer. Cancer like breast cancer, like prostate cancer and colon cancer. This is because increased risk of tissue dysplasia as a result of specific tissues exposure to nutrition and steroid hormone. And we can draw a curve between birth weight and colon cancer. The curve will be like J-shaped. So now we will discuss epigenetics. And what is epigenetics? Epigenetics is uh, the phenotype of any animal is also influenced by its environment. The environmental factors like stress, toxins, elements, these things also alter the phenotype without altering DNA sequence. We call it genome. DNA sequence is unaltered, and for environmental factors the phenotypical changes take places. And the study of effect of environment on phenotypical variation without changes in DNA sequence, that is epigenetic. And now we should know that the the phenotypical changes due to environmental factors, these are reversible. These are reversible, and some mechanisms are like histone modification and DNA methylation and non-coding RNA action. So we have to consider that environment has some minor and major effects on expression of genotype, and it can inherit. The conclusion of our discussion, and we need to mention a statement by World Health Organization: the global burden of death, disability and loss of human capital as a result of impaired fetal development is huge and affects both developed and developing country. So awareness regarding prenatal and antenatal nutrition of mother should be increased. 2. Pathogenesis of various non-communicable disease can be understood, and that will help alteration of disease process before onset. 3. Prenatal and antenatal counseling. So prenatal and antenatal counseling is very important for both mother and her children, not only for fetal benefit but also for children's later life. 4. We need to research more and more about epigenetics so that we can understand natural history of disease more profoundly.